Hello, I am Max and you're watching Cool Stuff in Weird Cars, and today I come to you with a bit of a spring update video on all my vehicles. So we're starting over here at the garage. We got the Intrepid over here, my truck right behind me, and of course the TC in the garage. So let's get started with the truck. So I know I haven't made an update video in a bit. I made a video in a bit, mostly because of weather reasons and just some other things going on in my life that are taking priority over making some videos. So yeah, in case you don't know, this is my 96 Dodge Ram 1500. Last video I actually made was on this thing, which I appreciate all of the feedback on that video. There's been quite a bit. I very much appreciate it. But nothing's really happened with this thing. I kind of drove it during the winter. Problem was that it actually seemed to have a gas leak from somewhere, and I never figured out where or why. And now the gas leak is gone, so I'm not too worried about it. Really, the only thing I've noticed with this thing, well, just look at these headlights. I cannot believe how well these headlights have held up. These are like, I bought these like 2 years ago. They're aftermarket replacement headlights, and they're still like perfectly clear. Like there's not a single imperfection in either one of them, which is the thing that impresses me the most on this thing, honestly. But the one thing I have noticed, that I just noticed today, is that this black paint on the hood is starting to come off. This was put on here, I guess, by the previous owner, probably shortly before I bought this truck. It goes all the way over the roof, as well as kind of on the side here on the doors, you can see right here, and on top of the bed as well. Oh yeah, I got the floor mats in there too. But it's starting to come off in various places, so I need to figure out what I want to do with that. Because if I can, I might just try and get it off of here. Because I don't know, honestly, I'd rather have clear coat coming off like the roof or the top of the door there than this ugly, literally like rolled on black paint. But yeah, it's coming off pretty bad right here too. So I can see if I can get that off somehow without destroying everything underneath it. But it's still super bad. This thing has not been cleaned for a while. As you could probably tell, it's pretty filthy both inside and out. I would like to make like a detailing video on all my cars sometime soon, but that is a sometime soon project, not right now. So we'll go ahead and fire this thing up real quick if I can find my keys. It is. We're at 144,457 miles. And as I mentioned, I didn't really drive this thing much through the winter because of the fact that we thought it had a gas leak, but it didn't. So, classic buzzer, radio off, and we'll start it up real quick. As you can see, it still starts up perfectly. Had no actual problems with anything mechanically. Well, much. The front end makes some noise still, makes actually quite a bit of noise. There's a fly in here. The rear end has started to whine a little bit, so I think both my axles need to be inspected. Okay, fly, get out of here. It's just warm enough for there to actually be flies. Get out of here. And I've been stopped by bad weather a lot recently, so this is my first actual nice day in a while to make videos. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about this thing. Still want to fix the e-brake. That's gonna happen at some point, hopefully, maybe, probably, maybe, depending on what happens, because there's some uncertainty with things right now in a lot of my life, specifically about this specific place over here. I didn't realize I was on automatic mode. Whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, there's some uncertainty about what's going to happen in the near future, so things might be leaving, things might be staying. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll figure that out when we get there. But there it is. There is my 96 Dodge Ram. Still love this thing, still love driving it. It's so comfortable on the inside, and it's been a good truck. I've driven it 18,000 miles now, and only with some minor difficulties. So yeah, let's continue on to the Intrepid, I guess. And of course, this is my 2004 Dodge Intrepid that I got from my grandma, which was my grandpa's car back about 16, 17, 18 years ago. and it has about 33,694 miles, I think that says in there. And we will go ahead and get this thing fired up because I actually want to drive it home today. I'm gonna leave the truck here. So, turn off. Also turn it off. So, let's fire it up. It's even been a minute since I've driven this thing. Oh, it's almost out of gas. That sucks. I just filled up the Celsius today and it was expensive. Gas is definitely getting a lot more expensive right now. New washer fluid. Check engine light finally went off, which is pretty cool. But other than that, I need to clean this thing up. I got some trash in here. This is what I drove all throughout the winter. Put that window down. You can probably see the dust and dirt that I still need to clean off of this thing just from driving it over the winter. But this has been, you know, this car's been fine. I haven't had to do anything to it since I got it really, except for a few things that were messed up beforehand, like the driver's door lock and the driver's window was also messed up. But really all it needs right now is a good cleaning, which will happen sometime. Since we have a few sunny days here, I might actually take care of it in the next few days. But it's been good otherwise. It drove through the snow perfectly fine. Didn't have any issues there, especially with these brand new tires. Well, basically brand new. I've had this car for over a year now. It's crazy to think about that. I've driven it 2,500 miles, I think, 2,600 technically. So it's getting close to oil change time because these cars, these 2.7s, unless you keep up really well with the oil changes, they will get sludge in the engine. They might do it anyways, so you never really know. But a good way to prevent it, or try to prevent it, is to do oil changes at like no more than 3,000 miles. So we'll be taking care of that soon. But for now, it's pretty good. And so we'll go ahead and check out our final car over here, which is none other than the TC. And there it is. It's probably really loud, I apologize. But this is my 1989 Chrysler TC, Chrysler's TC by Maserati. This is a project car still, because it still needs a few things to be truly road-worthy. Specifically a timing belt, because the timing belt in it is not very good, which is why I haven't driven it for a while. I start it up every now and then to make sure that the battery's good, and that's as far as I go. But yeah, it's the 16 valve engine. Can't see anything in here, I apologize. But 2.2 liter 16 valve, 200 horsepower, turbocharged, 5-speed manual, 1 of 500 made, so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and give this thing a little bit of a startup real quick, just to make sure the battery's still up and good. I've been really fortunate that this car's had like a good charging system and a good water pump and things like that, because if it wasn't, I would be very sad, and it would not be run every couple months. It's pretty much what it is right now, is just every couple months I'm like, oh, I want to start up the TC, and it's like, oh, I'm doing an update video, it's time to start up the TC. That's been my life. But key only goes in one way. Fuel pump is good. We'll wait for the ABS pump to finish making its noise. Put in the neutral. Wait for that ABS light to come on, or go off. Come off? Go off. I want to start working on this car though. I want to start with some little things like making the odometer work and also making all the lights in the dashboard work. Because if you remember, I don't even think you can see it very well. Like half the lights in the gauge, well, more than half the lights in the gauge cluster don't work, and the odometer doesn't work because of a broken gear, which is very common on these cars. So I'd like to take this all apart, fix everything, and kind of just refresh it. And a few other things. Maybe clean it up again, because it appears that there's been mice or something in here yet again, which is pretty cool. But let's start this thing up. And there we go. It's still impressive to me. This car sat for 20 years in a barn, and it still starts up perfectly fine. It is more surprising that stuff like all the windows work, a bunch of the electronic stuff actually works, which is crazy. And it also runs really smooth too. It doesn't make a whole lot of noise under the engine bay. It's pretty cool. So we'll let that run for a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much that. And of course, last up we have my 1993 Toyota Celsior, Japanese domestic market JDM import. Bought it about 9 months ago, I guess. It was like June, July. Actually, it was like right after my birthday, so it was June. But this has been basically my daily driver for a bit. It did have a slight problem though with the battery going completely out in it whenever it was 0 degrees outside, so I had to replace the battery, which was only a year old, and also I wasn't able to get a warranty replacement because of the fact that I didn't buy the battery. So that was $140 in the drain, but otherwise it's been solid. Nothing too crazy going on with it at all besides the battery thing. Look at our odometer real quick in here. Is the incorrect key right there. I did just drive this, so nothing really fancy like a cold start or anything. You're at 91,447 kilometers, which is 58,000 miles, something like that. It's about, actually almost exactly, because it was 90,448 when I got it, according to the sticker, which is how I remember that. And we're at 1 kilometer under 6,000, so 5,999 kilometers in this thing, and it's been a great car. I don't really have any complaints about it so far, but I'm not sure what the fate of this car is going to be, because I might need to be making space sometime soon, which also relates to what was going on in the earlier in the video, the thing I was talking about. I think I was talking about when I was talking about my RAM, maybe. Don't remember, but yeah, it's been just cruising along perfectly fine. I think it does sometimes make some noise with the steering, so this might be having the same issue as my LS400, which was a leaking power steering pump. I'll have to look into that a little bit more because I haven't yet. Otherwise, if this car sticks around, one thing I thought of that I was like, I could probably do that pretty easy, is finding an LS400 radio and putting it in here instead of the JDM one, because I'm sure that they'll probably be the same plug. I'm assuming, at least. I don't see why they'd be different, because everything else is pretty much the same other than the fact that it's flip-flopped side to side. But I was thinking if I could find an LS400 radio, stick it in here so I can actually have US radio stations, because of course, if you remember, this radio only goes up to 90.0 and then it goes back to 76. So I think it's 6, yeah. That's my Bluetooth thing, is 88.5. But I would like to see if I can find an LS400 radio to replace it with, because I'd keep this one around, of course. It's just I want to listen to local radio sometimes. Otherwise, no real ideas or plans for this car. Nothing too crazy going on, but yeah, still loving it, honestly. But I really don't need 2 slow automatic sedans in my life, so we'll figure that out sometime. But that will conclude this video. So thank you all very, very much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Of course, there's gonna be more where this came from pretty soon, hopefully. So it is warming up, which is nice. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.